Man, the AAA gaming industry is just collapsing at this astounding rate. I mean, it's like Jenga, right? You pull that last block out and the whole thing just freaking collapses. And one of the biggest collapses in the last couple of years has been the death of Ubisoft as we've known it. And they just closed another studio in Winnipeg. And apparently they're closing or laying people off in San Francisco too. And you're not allowed to talk about it. Like, you're not allowed to talk about it. Gaming journos aren't allowed to talk about it. They're being told to shut up. What, you're not going to get any early access codes if you report on more news in the gaming industry? I mean, this is the same company that, if I remember correctly, shut down a studio that just unionized. They're like, hey, good for you. You're union. Now get the hell out of here. Right. So let's talk about this. Let's look into it and see what is going on. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. If you'd like more Clownfish TV episodes you will not find anywhere else, go out to more.clownfishtv.com. Help support the channel for less than the cost of a super chat. We do not do those over here. Also, check out the audio version of Clownfish TV. You can go out to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. So thank you very much for that. So this is coming from Pirate Nation on X. They said, according to a report from Insider Gaming, Ubisoft has closed its Winnipeg studio and around 85 employees have lost their jobs. Employees were reportedly told about the decision during a meeting on Wednesday. The closure is expected to affect more than just the Winnipeg office, with some projects and teams across Ubisoft, including work connected to Ubisoft Montreal, also being impacted. This company is dying. Now, this is Tom Henderson, who's the owner of Insider Gaming, saying earlier today, Insider Gaming received emails from several Ubisoft employees that two of its studios were shutting down and hundreds of employees would be affected. Subsequently, after corroborating said information, we ran with those stories. This is normal journalism. Yes, it's a normal practice. You get news from sources, you corroborate, you try to get a comment from the company, and you publish. Yes, sometimes it's not always accurate. You report on what you know. Things do change. Facts do change. People, it's funny when we talk about things, they're like, well, you heard of whatever a year ago and it didn't happen. Well, sometimes things change. It doesn't mean that at the time it wasn't true or that it wasn't being rumored, and we try to disclaim rumors, but that is how normal journalism works, right? People are like, well, you need to go back and fix your video or delete your video. I'm like, okay, so the New York Times should go back and like delete every newspaper off the internet from, a year ago that might have gotten some things wrong because they didn't have all the information or things changed. Anyway, Henderson says after some of these stories went live, Ubisoft contacted us to say that the information was under an embargo, which we never received, which frankly is weird but understandable since employees should be told first by their employer. Well, a lot of people are finding out these days. There are so many layoffs across so many industries. They are finding out via the trades that they're fired or that their movie is canceled or whatever. However, before each story went live, the affected teams were informed of the impacts, and that's how we found out. It just wasn't a company-wide announcement yet. Sure, there were probably a few people who were affected and didn't know about the layoffs or changes, but it has never been the media's job to protect the company. Developers find out about layoffs all the time via the media, unfortunately. And I even know of instances of journalists pursuing a story, texting, emailing developers before their dreaded all-hands meeting to say they would be laid off in a matter of hours. The fact is, it's shit to report on layoffs, but ultimately it's part of the job. And that is a huge part of your job as a gaming journalist in 2026, in 2025, in 2024, and 2023, is to report on the death of AAA gaming, because that is exactly what is happening. And Ubisoft is the poster child for the death of AAA gaming. I'm glad we published the articles, am I glad? No. But I'm glad that we did what we were supposed to do. Personally, I think as an industry, we're running into quite dangerous ground when we start abiding by embargoes about layoffs, even more so when we publish the info, like we learned info from sources rather than the company itself, but maybe that's just me. You mean ethics in journalism? What? That you can't be bought off by a company? So, let's talk about these layoffs. This comes from Game Informer. Report, Ubisoft announces more studio closures and layoffs amid new organizational restructuring. It says, reported by Insider Gaming, the publisher sent an internal message to staff stating how it has been evolving to simplify how it operates, reduce its cost base, and strengthen the company for the long term. People don't care why they got laid off. I have not run across a single person who's had their life destroyed by a layoff who's been like, you know, it's okay if I lose my house because it's for the good of the company and the shareholders. It's totally fine. I'll find another house someday. My credit's gonna be thrashed because I can't pay my bills, but someday I'll be able to get a mortgage again. To that end, it has shuttered its studios in Winnipeg and Belgrade. Ubisoft Winnipeg opened its doors in January of 2019 and served as a support studio for titles such as Rainbow Six Mobile, Far Cry 6, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Winnipeg's closure has reportedly impacted 65 employees. Ubisoft Belgrade has existed since 2016 and worked on several titles, including the recently revealed Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. Roughly 100 employees are reportedly impacted. Did it ever occur to you that maybe Ubisoft has too many studios just in general around the world, and that's part of the problem? That's part of how they got to where they're at right now. And then remember last year, like they were all like, hey, we're going to unionize and ask for more money. I'm like, bitch, you're lucky to have a job. Okay. It's just like, it's getting to the point where it's like, you're lucky to have a job at all. Additionally, layoffs have been announced at Ubisoft Barcelona and Ubisoft San Francisco. It said dozens of people. Publisher also announced plans to restructure the Barcelona studio to focus on Rainbow Six projects. In total, Ubisoft's internal messaging states that up to 380 employees may be affected, according to the message obtained by Insider Gaming. That is massive. That's a lot of people, like across the world. This company is dying. Like Ubisoft is cooked, man. What they're doing, the reason they started that other company with Tencent is they're just going to move all the stuff that makes money or hope has the potential to make money over there, and then they're going to let this shit just burn to the ground. That's what I think they're going to do. Today's news is the latest development, a company-wide restructuring that has persisted since 2024, follows the formation of subsidiary Vantage Studios to manage the Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six franchises, and an organizational reset announced in January that led to several game cancellations, including the long-awaited remake of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. In the past 2 years, Ubisoft has shuttered studios in Leamington and Halifax. Yeah, and one of those was, I think they just formed a union, and like the very next day they shut the company down, or shut the studio down. Ubisoft has also proposed layoffs at studios such as the Division developer Massive Entertainment and Trials developer Red Lynx. Ghost Recon developer Red Storm Entertainment lost 100 employees in March. It's still in operation, but it ceased active game development. Once they're done with whatever they're working on, they're going to be gone. That's my opinion. I think they're going to get rid of them. So this is coming from Aftermath. This is Nathan Grayson, who was he the guy who was? No, I don't think he was. He was he was one of the Kotaku or writers or Polygon writers or whatever. But no, I think that, you know, if it can be proven that people have actually been laid off, and this is the thing too, and we're seeing this with the bricks and minifigs situations. These companies think they can throw a lawyer at you to get you to shut up about the news if you're a journalist. And we've been threatened before too. We got threatened by Valnet last year, I think, for simply talking about an article talking about the history of Valnet, and it was actually from The Wrap. It was like a major Hollywood publication. They were talking about it, so then Valnet's like, well, you might open yourself up to litigation. The only way you're going to open yourself up to litigation if you're a public company and you're reporting on a public company is if you're lying about that company or you're lying about that person, right? I've been threatened by other YouTubers pretty recently. About last year, I got threatened by another YouTuber for talking about that YouTuber, and nothing I said was untrue. No, and I stand by that. Nothing I said was untrue. It's all provable. And this guy shoots me an email at 3:00 in the morning. He's trying to threaten me. It's like, get piss off, man. Like, you're a public figure too, you know? But yeah, they said circumstances surrounding the news paint a slightly muddier picture. In at least one case, Ubisoft justified the embargo by saying that staff in Belgrade were still being informed at the time, according to reports to whom Aftermath spoke. Yeah, they said it was on LinkedIn and everything, so what are you going to do? Ubisoft did, to a degree, put reporters in a bind with some who agreed to the embargo, telling Aftermath and Ubisoft that Ubisoft did not specify the nature of the embargo. No, they're not going to get free shit from Ubisoft, I guess. They won't be invited to the shindigs. I'm like, does it really matter? You know, at this point, like, does any of this matter? Does it matter that you make these video game companies happy? because they're going to be out of business anyway, right? So they just want to shut you up so they can do what they're going to do with minimal problems. Had reporters know more about what they were agreeing to, they might not have done so as readily or at all. So this is the embargo aftermath. Reached out to Ubisoft for more details, but did not receive a reply as of this publishing. Let's see. A larger problem here is that oftentimes when companies lay people off, they do so callously. Yes, giving employees little time to prepare emotionally or financially. That is by design. And I've talked about this before. Part of the reason they do that is they don't want retaliation. They don't want problems. They don't want to give you a heads up because you've got enough time to break things or quit on your own. They want you gone when they want you gone, and they want you gone on their terms. And I've been part of layoffs before. I've been on the receiving end of layoffs. It's messy, and you never know how the person's going to react. And that's true. Like if you're telling somebody who's been with the company for 20 years that they're gone, and like they thought they were going to retire at this place, they may not react very well. And so sometimes they'll have security there or whatever. It sucks. I mean, it sucks, and I've had to do it, making lists of people that can go, because at that point, working for these corporations, your job is to do your due diligence and your fiduciary duty to the company. That's what they hired you for, not to be friends with people. And you have to realize that. And it's part of growing up. Part of growing up is realizing that your workplace is not a glee club. It's not a friends circle. It's not your second home or your third place or whatever the hell they call it now these days. Your job is to show up and do the best job you can do to help the company make money. And unfortunately, some jobs are not necessary. The only reason they hired you in the first place was they needed you in a position to help them make money. And if it doesn't make sense to continue to pay you, this is what happens, right? And there is no like good way to do it. I think when you're laying off a lot of people, you got to do it quick. I know the one company I worked for, before we even told people they were laid off, before they came in to work that day, the email and access to all the company communications, all that stuff was shut down. They were shut off. Their email no longer worked. So they would be intercepted as soon as they came in that morning, like, hey, just so you know, we got to lay you off. And also, you don't even have time to say goodbye to people or send an email or anything because your email's already been shut off because we didn't know what was going to happen. And the one company I worked for, that's how they did it to me too, because we were a government adjacent software company, and it was just like, we were just telling you today, you're gone, your email's shut off, you have no longer have access to any of this stuff because you could break it. You know how to break it, and that's what you got to do. It sucks, especially if you're dealing with games that are in development. These people could just be vindictive and leak everything. And this just shows me that, like, I'm not trying to single out Mr. Grayson here, but I'm like, I don't know if he's got a lot of experience working for corporate America, because this is actually, unfortunately, normal. This is how people, unfortunately, are laid off 9 times out of 10. It said, if nothing else, today's layoff dust-up should give reporters pause. Why were some's first instinct to agree to a random embargo offered by a company? Access. Does any major company deserve that level of implicit trust? No. And to what extent does this system constructed around products, reviews, and release dates, wait a minute here, in release dates impede journalists' ability to efficiently dig deeper when circumstances demand it? Almost like ethics in journalism? Wait a minute. Didn't we have dust up about ethics in journalism a decade or so ago, and it became a big thing that's still a big thing now in some people's minds, even though nobody else really talks about it? Historically, big companies have made the rules in this industry, but that doesn't mean we have to keep playing them. No, if you want advertising, you do. And that's the thing. A lot of people working at these companies, like if you want Ubisoft to advertise on your website, you're going to play ball. And you may not want to play ball with them, but your publisher does because they want paid, right? We had a Disney blog that we ran for years with a partner, and we had access to Disney and Disney people. And if we wanted to continue to get that access to Disney and Disney people, and also get perks from Disney and get to go to all the Disney hoedowns and parties, we had to do what they wanted. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Like, not do it and let everybody else go get the ride new coaster first, and then we get to go 2 weeks later and ride it after everybody else has done the review? That's just the way it works. And again, growing up is realizing that life's not fair. Things are not fair. But in the case of Ubisoft, yeah, they're burning down in real time, dude. It's a mess. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.